Okay.
We good? Alright, in this video I'm going to explain the tricky excellence criteria. To what extent is PTSD the result of the interaction? This is really confusing and really difficult, that's why it's for excellence credits at level 3 psychology. Right, so what does this mean, to what extent? To what extent means it's either definitely something or it's not at all, and where do we put the line on this continuum? So you have to determine to what extent is PTSD the result of interactions between approaches. Now, you're probably not going to say it's definitely. What I'm looking for here is, because earlier in your research you've explained that it is the result of interactions, I want you to cast some doubt on that, right? I'm looking, is it really because of the interactions? And how do you do that? So, right, the interactions means it's variable A which causes B which leads to PTSD. For example, the ACEs change the hippocampus and that's why we get PTSD. Right, is it really because of that? And when we say interaction, well, interaction is actually reciprocal. It's going both ways. It's this way and this way. So one way you can assess the extent to which it's an interaction is it really going both ways? Is it A equals B, or sorry, A leads to B, and also B leads to A? Or is it illogical to assume that, for example, a small hippocampus is going to increase ACEs, or appraisals are going to affect your socioeconomic status if we've argued that actually it goes in the other direction? And if this is too much too soon, then really you've got to take time with this and sit down and diagram and plot out your interactions and think, do these really interact? Do they really go both ways? Or am I only looking at a unidirectional effect, a one-direction effect of PTSD? I'm not actually looking at both things together. Another way you could do it is, well, actually, is it even only these two variables? Or could there be a third factor? We've got ACEs influencing the hippocampus, but then could socioeconomic status be thrown in there logically somehow, and that confuses this whole nice little, there's two factors that combine to cause PTSD equation. And now we're actually casting more doubt on this and say, well, it can't just be those two things interacting, there might be other factors. Can you add that in there? You might even say, does this happen for everybody, right? Is it always the case that A equals B? Are there exceptions? Is it always the case that leads to PTSD? Does it cover all symptoms? Does B even exist? Now, I'm being deliberately abstract here because all of this depends on what are the examples you wrote about in your interactions. What were the two different variables that combine to create the behavior? All right, you can read a definition of this with an example on the task sheet. You can look at my exemplar on depression, where I put all into this into words explaining it in regards to depression. You might want to try to do the same thing with PTSD. This isn't easy, it's not supposed to be. Again, that's why it's for excellence credits. The best thing to do is to have a go, to write it and get feedback from me. Good luck.